All right, and we are back for episode 12. I got my episodes a little confused on the last one. I guess I was getting ahead of myself, and hadn't really gone back to count, but was feeling like we were farther ahead than we were, but that's okay. So this is episode 12 of the Minnesota Due Process Coach. I'm so happy that you have joined us and you continue to join us on this journey. It feels so surreal still that we're continuing on this journey. Today it is just me. I didn't line anyone up this week because truthfully, I am incredibly busy. Not complaining. It's great to be busy, but this is the crazy season in a lot of districts. April gets a little ramped up, and then we hit May, and we have to hit the ground running. There's just a lot of things that are going on in districts right now, as a lot of people know, hiring, budgets, planning for next year, trying to make it through this year, getting everyone to finish and complete all their due process for the year. We're just really trying to wrap everything up. I don't have a lot to talk about today. There's been a ton of different things that have continued to keep coming up in conversations that I've had lately, and it's so hard. I think about it in the moment, like, oh, I should remember that for the podcast. That would be a great topic. And then it kind of leaves my mind, or I just get busy and start thinking about other things. I think we've had a lot of really great people on the podcast lately talking about some awesome stuff, and I've noticed a lot of trends with the conversations that we've had with people around certain areas, and I think that's just the nature of where we are in special education right now. And are continuing to go. It's a really interesting climate within special education right now, especially with where we are going, and what that funding looks like and what special education will look like. And it's kind of a weird unknown. Nobody can really predict the future. We can just continue to provide what's best for kids. And that's the other theme that I feel like continues to keep coming up. And I hope that if you're listening to this, that you have that same philosophical piece that a lot of us do, of it's for the kids. Because I think sometimes we get lost in the adults and what's best for adults and what feels good for adults, and we lose sight of what's actually best for kids. And I've had that conversation a lot outside of the podcast with various people, um, around different due process topics and honestly leadership topics as well. Are we truly doing what's best for the kids, or are we doing what's best for adults at the time? I've also been trending and watching a lot of numbers, and Dave talked about this too, of the numbers increasing in special education, and quite honestly, in our center-based programming across here in Minnesota. I can't speak to nationally and what that looks like, but I know here in the Twin Cities, the numbers are growing. I don't really have an answer to that. I would love to. I mean, I'm a researcher at heart. Everybody knows that about me. You give me a topic and I will find everything about it for you. I will ask lots of people, especially if it interests me. And it does interest me to figure out why our numbers in center-based are so high. Like, what are those reasons for those referrals, and what are the processes within center-based programming? Now, I say that with the caveat that some districts run their center-based programming differently and have less programs, and it's harder to get into them, and some just have more. So we've seen kind of an uptick in that area. There's a couple of things, right, as we're closing out May and finishing the school year, that I think are super important to talk about before we have our next guest on. And that, most importantly, is just ensuring that you have all of your due process completed for the school year, ensuring that all your meetings are done, your IEPs are finalized, your PW1s are finalized, and most importantly, you're doing your progress. We are about to hit another progress reporting point at the end of the school year. And as many of you should know, hopefully, progress reporting is part of MDE's compliance monitoring, and that's what they're saying that they're going to be looking at. So really ensuring that you are doing progress correctly. And a big piece of that, which a lot of districts haven't done for a long time, is making sure that you're progressing the goal and you're progressing the objectives. And when you're progressing those objectives, it really looks truly at data and that you are providing those data points from the data that you've collected, hopefully, over the last couple of weeks since your last time you took progress for that student. So some districts are reporting twice a year. Some districts are reporting multiple times. It all depends on what your district has chosen to do, but just ensuring that your progress is concise and data driven. I've seen a lot, and I know I've talked about this previously, of people writing things that are very fluffy, I like to call them, about the child. They're doing a great job. I'm so proud of them. They're working hard. That's great. I'm so happy. But tell me the facts, right? Can they do these things 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 80% accuracy? What does that look like? And what are those data points? Because that's really what we're looking for to drive our next instruction and to drive our next IEP. It's really kind of what I've been talking about with a lot of my teachers, especially when we're writing these IEPs recently, is what does your progress data and what does your data show you? And that's your present level. Um, the other big piece I've had tons of conversations around is hiring, which is a crazy topic right now because I think everyone's looking. Um, and there was a big thing that came out that's actually not new, I found out. I thought it was new information. So, um, MDE puts out a directors forum. Typically, you sign up and you go and it's virtual. This time, it was just sent to us with the PowerPoints and a recorded version. So it wasn't quote unquote live. It was a pre-recorded session, and those get sent out to everyone on the directors list. So I received them as well. And so this one was specifically around OFPs, which is out of field placement, which we're seeing a lot of within charter districts and actually large districts as well, because we are seeing a teacher shortage. So those out of field placements might be someone with a social studies degree that has applied for an OFP within special education. So it's either a tier one or a tier two. And they can serve students what used to be 5 years because of COVID. We're now talking 3 years, which I think is really great. I talked about this in my due process group on Wednesday and how I actually strongly believe in what they're trying to push out, or at least trying to reinforce, is highly qualified. I think if we're going to require our paraprofessionals to be highly qualified and take the parapro and do all of the pieces that they need to do, then we should be requiring that of our teachers as well, regardless of whether we're in a teacher shortage or not. IDEA says that we will provide highly qualified special ed teachers to our students, the most vulnerable. And I think it's important that we uphold that here in Minnesota, especially. I would hope everywhere else as well. But really cracking down that these OFP teachers are in a program. So now what they're saying is that in order to continue or to hold your out of field placement, that teacher has to be enrolled in a program or a portfolio program. So there's two separate things, right? A program to get their special education license or a master's degree or a degree in special education. Or enrolled in the portfolio program, which the portfolio to licensure is an option for a lot of people, which I will plug all day, every day, is an option for people who have already obtained a higher degree that they want to, that will help them get a special ed licensure like an ABS. Um, Shameless plug, Mandy, who has been on the podcast twice now, has a portfolio program that she runs. And if you are interested in that or you would like to hear more, I can definitely put you in touch with her. But she runs a really great portfolio program where they walk you through the steps and give you the tools that you need in order to obtain that portfolio. I was actually talking with Carol Potter yesterday as well, and there's a program through Sourcewell that they are also doing a portfolio to licensure program that will be that information will be coming out. So really great options for these out of field placement teachers who would like to continue their education in special ed, or they can always go back to school and enroll in one of the universities or colleges here in Minnesota online. You could do an out of state online and get your special education licensure. But now that is going to be I shouldn't say more of, but a continued requirement for OFPs, which I think is really great. The other caveat with OFPs, which I've been seeing a lot of and people not understanding, is that on an OFP you are on a non-renewal, right? So typically in a district, you have 3 years of probationary before you are tenured. With an OFP, that is not the case. You are a non-renewal every year until you get your next out of field placement, which typically comes on July 1. So you can't technically be hired back right away. You could apply, but they can't pull you on until July 1 when your new OFP would be renewed. I highly encourage you, if you are looking into special education or you're curious, to go on to the Pellsby website and really look at that tiered licensure diagram that they have. It's really great. I was just looking at it the other day with a paraprofessional actually, to really look through those different tiered licensures to figure out which one was the best and what's the best fit for that person. I also encourage you to reach out to Pellsby. I tell people this all the time, email them and ask them with your file folder number what you need to do. So if you have a license already, say in social, say you have a degree in something else like science, but you don't have a licensure yet, they can really help you walk through those steps of that process and tell you what you need to do to obtain that degree or that licensure. So for me, that was exciting to see. I know some people kind of cringe about it because we are already in a really tight hiring state here in Minnesota, especially. I know it's nationwide, but in Minnesota, we for sure are. And especially in the charters, they're really having a hard time finding people, especially for special education. That that was really nice to see because I do think our students deserve to have highly qualified staff in front of them, regardless of whether it's harder to find or not. The other piece that came out of the directors forum was around some graduation requirements, which I'm not going to get into today because I honestly haven't done enough research and I haven't talked to enough people about it. I've read it, I've had some conversations, but all the conversations have come back to a wait and see um, of where we're going to go with that. So I don't feel comfortable really sharing that. If you're interested, you can always go onto the MDE website and the Directors Forum is sitting there for you to watch, or the slides are there as well. So I would encourage people to really, really go back and look at that. It's always good information. You can look at past directors forums. Um, I like to watch them. I'm kind of nerdy like that. People know that about me. Any information I can find out to further myself and my knowledge, I really, really enjoy doing. The other big topic that has come up is moving kids around from 3 to 4, which we talked about, and I encourage you to watch Mandy and Dave's podcast and or even listen to it on Apple or Spotify to hear their answers around that because those are the questions I'm hearing a lot too, is moving from 3 to 4 and what that looks like. I will also give a shameless plug right now for some districts that are looking for teachers because I just feel like it's so important to share those districts. And I will say, if you are looking for teachers or you are looking for something specific, please reach out to me and I'm happy to plug it for you here on the Minnesota Due Process Coach, hoping that it reaches someone within my network or within another network of somebody that might be listening or watching. Because again, like Dave and I have talked about in both the podcasts, networking is such a big part of this group and within special education. I think it's important in a lot of jobs, but I think especially in this tight-knit community that we have, there is a smaller group of leaders and there is a smaller group of people, and we do tend to stick together or find each other or know someone who knows someone who can connect. And I think if there's anything I can encourage you to do, it's go to MACE, it's go to different events, it's put yourself out there to meet different people. I was just talking to a friend about this, and she's going to listen to this and be like, oh, she's calling me out. Um, to really put yourself out there. It feels uncomfortable sometimes, but those are the places that you really grow, or you find out things that you didn't know before, or you find new people that you can network and connect with and move to your next location or, move to your next position. There's nothing wrong with staying in a district for an extended period of time. I think that's great, but I also think there's something to be said about really getting yourself out there and getting the experience, especially in leadership, of different districts. I'd say in teaching as well, because I think you get into habits, you get into certain things that you only do at one district, but that isn't the same for every place. And I think it's really cool to see what other people are doing, good or bad. So there's a couple of things. So Dave, who was just on the podcast, Haveman, who works in Intermediate District 9, 916, 17, 16, all these intermediate districts. I always get them so confused. They are hiring teachers actively, and it's a great, great place to work. Don't let Fed Setting 4 deter you. I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of great supports in place and a lot of really awesome people that work there with Dave. I know specifically two of the principals, and they are absolutely fantastic and would be so great to work for. Um, I will also plug for Prior Lake Savage because I have a friend who works there as well, and she's looking for a couple open positions. I believe center-based teacher, school psych, and a point 0.5 lead and a point 0.5 teacher position. Another really awesome district to work in. Michelle Chuka is the director there, and she is phenomenal. We worked together previously in Shakopee, and she's great. She's a great leader. She has so much knowledge. She's really doing some great things over there. Um, so I really encourage you to look at that as well if you are in the market and looking. Um, Again, if you have anything that you want me to share on here, like you're a district looking, I will also plug for Lakeville Public Schools as well. They are looking for center-based teachers. They are looking for school psychologists. They are looking for special ed teachers. They are looking for OTs and speech actively right now. And it's another large district to grow and learn with. So if you're interested in that, you can always apply online for any of those positions, or you can reach out to me if you'd like to know more, or you want to be in touch with someone specifically there to ask some more questions. I'm absolutely happy to do that. So yeah, so that is kind of it today. I really encourage you to take care of yourselves. This is the home stretch for this is when it gets really crazy. And we all kind of go a little bonkers before the end of the school year. And then it's that sigh of relief as we move into summer projects and summer planning, which is some of my favorite time. But take care of yourselves and really do something for you. Ensure that your mental health is good and that you can kind of make it through and you're almost there. As always, if you have any questions for me or you want your question answered by anyone that's been on the podcast, I encourage you to reach out to me. I look forward to another week of the Minnesota Due Process Coach. We will have another director on. Carol still has to come on. I already told her she has to come by herself. I'm hoping to get something out early next week, but I am leaving to go to Florida with my daughter for her summit for cheerleading. So it's kind of a crazy time to be out of the schools, but also a nice time to take a little bit of a break. So I'm hoping to get something out early in the week. We will have somebody back, and we have another collab obviously coming with Sped Forms. So I look forward to that as well. I hope you have a really great day, and thanks for tuning in.